world's dumbest living human, Logan Bald, just got dumber. Impossible, I hear you say. Poppycock! Well, it's true, and I can prove it. Just watch this conversation he has with mouth breather Mongoloid Mike about the recent Bryce Mitchell situation. Quick backstory for those of you who don't know, Bryce Mitchell is a UFC fighter, and he recently made positive comments about Hitler, and these two retards are going to discuss it. Let's watch.
I don't even know how to start this. The line, if you simply take the individual quote of before he started smoking meth, Hitler seemed like a cool guy to just go fishing with, is potentially, I've been on the internet a long time.
Before he tells you what he thinks of Bryce Mitchell's comment, by just looking at his nose, we know which side of the debate he's going to fall on.
One of the most insane statements I've ever heard in my entire life.
Told you.
Before he started smoking meth, Hitler seemed like the kind of guy you just go fishing with.
Isn't that true for most people? That pre-meth they were pretty cool? I don't see the controversy here.
Like, listen to the arc of that statement. It is insane.
How is that insane? Are people better after they smoke meth? I wouldn't be surprised if that's what Mongoloid Mike believes. For those of you who don't know the backstory of Mongo Mike, before he met Logan Bald and became a multi-millionaire riding off of his back, Mongo Mike was a heroin addict for, I think it was 10 years, stealing from his grandmother, that level of heroin addict. So maybe he honestly believes that people are better on meth. I don't know. Let's keep listening to this retard.
And mirrors an ongoing narrative that is starting to gain, steam on X and other holes.
Oh, so X is a crap hole. So the one social media platform that has a semblance of freedom of speech is a crap hole. So we know where this guy stands. And in a previous episode of the Sewer News Network, he was saying how CNN has checks and balances, so you can trust the stuff they say as opposed to X. CNN. This guy is shilling CNN. It's all you need to know.
The biggest atrocity in the history of mankind. Shout out Dana White for immediately canning this motherfucker.
So, if you didn't watch Dana White's video, he immediately discussed the situation with Bryce Mitchell and called him something like the stupidest person he's ever met. Which is 100% false, because I know for a fact he met Logan Bald because I saw a video of them signing a contract when Prime became an endorser of the UFC. Sponsor, whatever.
It's like he destroyed him.
Yeah.
He said Bryce Mitchell is one of the dumbest people I have ever heard in my entire life. And
here's the thing with Dana White. He claims to be pro freedom of speech, right? But he went on a tirade about Bryce Mitchell. Well, who's Dana White's boss? Ari Emanuel, high-powered Hollywood agent, Hollywood mogul, Ari. He got the call.
This new conversation of trying to rewrite history is a wild one. Is a wild and a scary.
It's scary. It's scary.
It's very scary.
Oh, it's so scary. I'm sure these guys are so scared.
A couple years ago, we started questioning everything. Question everything. And there's nothing wrong with that. Question everything. When you talk about the Holocaust,
there's nothing wrong with questioning everything. Just don't do it, or you're dumb. These guys want you to buy in to the standard narrative that we have been fed our entire lives. Because these guys are stooges. These guys would not be famous if it wasn't for the Illuminati. So these puppets are trying to brainwash their followers. Just keep believing the narrative. Go ahead and question everything. That's awesome, guys. But don't question this stuff.
When you talk about Hitler, you're talking about one of the most well-documented scenarios in the history of the world. Tens of thousands of eyewitness accounts, people with tattoos on their arms, their bodies, who saw what happened. Landmarks, artifacts, scientific research. It is one of the most proven things that has ever happened in the history of the world. So to see current MMA fighters, retired MMA, why is it only MMA fighters?
Maybe it's because they have balls. You expecting TikTokers to talk about this stuff? In between twerks? In between twerking their assholes?
I'll tell you why. So fighters are a special breed. Most are unhinged. They're a little cuckoo in the head, got some screws loose, which is why they're fighters. That's one. The second thing is you have an organization that is not enforcing any form of punishment for what I would believe to be dangerous ideologies or beliefs. You know, hate speech, whatever it is, misinformation.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. The standard. It's misinformation. Hate speech. Listen to this. Listen to this.
What I would believe to be dangerous ideologies or beliefs. You know, hate speech, whatever it is, misinformation.
He sounds like Trudeau to me. Dangerous ideologies, hate speech, misinformation. How did this guy get an invite to Trump's inauguration? He's a double agent. He's a sheep in sheep's clothing.
That more dumbasses like Bryce Mitchell who think the fucking earth is flat are gonna yes.
Yeah, so they immediately lump you in with flat earthers. If you question any narrative, oh, you're like the flat earther.
99% of people hear what he says and is like, this guy is so ignorant and stupid. Inbred, ignorant, and stupid.
Oh, so Bryce Mitchell is inbred, right? But if I say the UFC Dagestani fighters are inbred, I get utterly destroyed. I get completely trashed when I say that. When if you look it up, you can look this up. This is a fact. They have very high rates of inbreeding. When I say that, oh my God, you're racist. Oh my God, you hate Muslims. Oh, I'm reporting this video. But we can call Bryce Mitchell inbred. All right.
But there is 1% of the population who will now be turned on to this stupid
they will infect their spawn and their community, and that's where you have to. But I do love, and I know you do too, I love Dana's angle on it, which is like, we're gonna let this person say whatever he wants, but bro, this dude's he said this dude's a moron. And he's not. The thing is like, as someone who's in the trenches, I know you're not there, I know you're not there.
How's he in the trenches? Which trenches? Does he mean tunnels? The tunnels in New York?
6 million Jews didn't die. It might have been less than that. Okay, it was 1 million, let's say. It was 500. Who gives a what the exact number was? We're talking.
Well, I mean, it should matter. If it was 2 people, that's like a car accident. And before you lose your mind, I'm not saying it was 2 people. It might have been 6 million. Might have been 1 million. I don't know. Listen, here's the thing. Here's the thing you have to understand about me. I'm not one of those people who pretends to be an expert on every topic without looking into it at all. I can tell you I have never looked into this Holocaust thing. So as far as that angle, whether or not it actually happened, I have no idea. Never looked into it. Not going to pretend I'm an expert on the topic. Maybe if my life wasn't in a complete state of emergency right now, more on that later, I'd have more time to look into such things. I don't. So I don't know. Let's continue. By the way, this is the face that Logan Bald sees off camera.
What's the punishment, if anything? And I respect Dana's position in allowing free speech. And, you know, he basically said, like, we might not agree with his opinion, we might not like him, but you know, that's he's a fighter, so that's why we're gonna watch to see him get the shit kicked out of him. And see that. But the issue is, what if that doesn't happen?
See, here's the thing though. Here's the thing. This lie has been going on too long. And the Bryce Mitchell situation going forward should hopefully open some people's eyes. So that lie being that the UFC does not punish fighters for what they say. The UFC does not financially punish their fighters for the things they say. There's freedom of speech. That is a lie, and I will prove it to you right now. Because of what Bryce Mitchell said, it will change the trajectory of his career. Count on it. The UFC chooses your matchups. The UFC decides if you get a pay raise. The UFC decides if they want to renew your contract when your fights are up. The UFC decides how much they pay you in that next contract. The UFC decides which cards you're on. Are you telling me that after what Bryce Mitchell said, he is going to get favorable matchups for his career? When his contract is up, will they renew it? If they do, how much of a raise is he going to get? What cards is he going to be on? You know, before this happened, his name was big enough to headline a UFC fight night, the ones they have at the Apex. His name was big enough for that. I'm telling you right now, that will never happen again. Unless they find some Jewish killer of a fighter and they want to make an example of him. So they make that the main fight of a UFC fight night just to watch him get destroyed. And then from then on, you will not see him outside of a prelim. And if it's a big pay-per-view UFC card, oh, he's not even prelims. He's early prelims. And I would bet that they don't even put him on pay-per-view cards anymore. So he gets even less eyeballs on him. He is now a prelim fight night fighter. He will make less money in his career because of what he said. His career will not be as long because of what he said. Therefore, he will make less money because of what he said. There is a hidden monetary fine for what he said. I actually respect more woke organizations like the NBA that give out an actual fine. Somebody says something that they disagree with, here's a $100,000 fine. But you know what? That guy's team is still going to play the games they're scheduled to play. That guy will still play the same role in those games and get as many minutes because the owner of that team wants his team to win. So if that guy's good, he's going to get his playtime. He just had to pay his $100,000 fine. I respect that type of transparency more than a hidden, insidious punishment like the UFC will do to Bryce Mitchell. And you will see his career's done. I'm not saying he won't fight anymore, but any potential his career had will be railroaded. There is an illusion of freedom of speech in the UFC when Dana's boss is Ari Emanuel. Don't kid yourselves.
If a guy like that is the champion of the world in the biggest fight organization in the world,
I mean, that would never happen. Bryce Mitchell doesn't have the potential to be a champion. And he wouldn't know this because he doesn't know anything about the UFC. Even though he has said he wants to fight in the UFC, I covered that in a previous video, he knows nothing about the UFC. And that gets exposed more and more as this conversation goes on.
What if a football player or a basketball player, if in the NFL or NBA said this, would they be fined? Is it and I don't know, like I said.
Yeah, they would be fined. NFL, NBA, they're going to get fined. And that's it. Then their career continues on. But the UFC does it in a bitch way. Does it in a passive-aggressive bitch way, hidden way.
I respect Dana's position. For me personally, I would have.
Of course you do. You're owned by the same people. You think this bitch ass is going to take a controversial position and side with Bryce Mitchell?
He is who he is. People are paying attention to him only because the UFC has platformed him and has given.
Yeah, counterpoint, the UFC wouldn't exist without talented fighters. How about that?
So now if you're making that organization look idiotic or degrading the entire organization, because it's not.
Let's not degrade an organization about bashing each other's heads in.
It's UFC fighter Bryce Mitchell. Yeah. In my head, I could see a world where there's some recourse there.
Would you remove him?
Personally,
I love Dana's.
No, I wouldn't remove him.
I love Dana's angle. I think the idea that you make sure that everyone knows after a fighter who's a part of an org says something that the org vehemently disagrees with their position and is willing to go ahead and call this person a moron.
Yeah, because the organization is run by Ari Emanuel.
In front of every reporter in the world, and it goes more viral than his original statement. That's what needs to be done. And that's why, like, we could talk only about Jake and Logan fighting on this podcast. We can talk about a bunch of fun shit, but it's also important for us to use our platform too to talk about this type of shit. Like, bro, it's
what platform? What platform? Your fans are 12-year-old retards. Nobody likes you. And guys, I want to clear something up if you've been watching this far. I've noticed from reading my comments over the last year or so that people think that if you criticize one side, that means you are pro the other side. Case in point, I've been very critical of the Dagestani fighters, but specifically their ugly neckbeards. It offends my aesthetics. So then I'll get comments saying, "Oh, you're a tiny hat. I knew it." What? And I just know that by saying the things I've said in this video, just trying to stand up for Bryce Mitchell's ability to say whatever the hell he wants without it destroying his career, I know the comments are going to be full of, "Oh, so you're pro-Hamas terrorist, huh? Oh, so you're pro-Pakistan, huh?" How about a third option? How about a third option? I don't give a crap about either one of them. Now listen, up until the tensions between Israel and Pakistan blew up like a year ago, none of you assholes even knew about that. But now all of a sudden we got to pick our sides. If I make fun of the terrorists' beards, oh my God, you're a Jew. If I say, yo, relax with Bryce Mitchell, don't ruin his career, oh, you're a terrorist. Hey, asshole, if you're outside of the USA, I don't give a crap. Let them both nuke each other for all I care. I'm the neon patriot. I'm just pro-America, baby. And it's incredible how many people are just absolute lemmings, absolute sheep, that when this conflict came to a boiling point again, people had to pick a side, even though they didn't know anything about either side until this happened. You have to pick a side. And because of you dumbasses falling for that binary type of thinking, a lot of you became pro-Islamic terrorist. What kind of goddamn American are you that you're now pro-Islamic terrorist? That's what happens when your dumb sheep ass feels that you have to pick a side. What if I think both sides suck? Am I allowed to have that opinion? Oh, you have to pick a side. Option A or option B? How about option C? I don't give a crap about what's happening. How about that? How about I'm more concerned about whether or not I can afford a dozen eggs? Who cares?
Fuck Hitler. Nazis. It was always punch a Nazi in the face. You see a fucking Nazi, you fucking punch that motherfucker.
Okay.
Always.
I got it.
Always. It always was that, and that's the vibe it should continue to be.
I'm sorry. When did you come across a Nazi? How old are you, Mongo Mike? That you want to act like you and your buddies were fighting literal Nazis? Listen, I know you're a decrepit old man because you're 40 years old, but you're not old enough to have been coming face to face with actual Nazis. And you've never punched anybody in the face. Punching your fist up Logan's bungus doesn't count, dude. You've never punched anybody in your life. You've never punched a Nazi in your life. You've never seen a Nazi in person in your life. What are you talking about? Stop trying to sound like you're a badass. Listen to this. Try hard.
Fuck Hitler. Fuck Nazis. It was always punch a Nazi in the
Always.
face. You see a fucking Nazi, you fucking punch that motherfucker.
Okay.
Always.
I got it.
Always. Always, guys. That's how it always was when Mongo Mike grew up on the mean streets, fighting Nazi gangs all day long. It was always punch them in the face. Cringy ass try hard.
It always was that, and that's the vibe it should continue to be for the remainder of history. F those people.
I got
and anybody that sympathizes with them.
I agree with that, Mike.
Like, for real.
I got the punishment.
Okay, guys. Now, this has been a long time coming, but at the start of this video, I talked about how stupid Logan Paul is. It's actually referring to this bit right here. Let me back this up. So look, I want to point out using the hand of truth. Notice that Logan Paul, while Mongo Mike, looking like he's sucking a big old BBC here, which he does in his downtime, Logan has been on his phone researching. He's researching, and now he has an idea. And now you'll see how stupid he is. Let's back this up.
Okay.
Always.
I got it.
Always. It always was that, and that's the vibe it should continue to be for the remainder of history. F those people.
I got
and anybody that sympathizes with them.
Look at Logan. He is so happy with what he's about to say. He did some research on his phone, and he is so happy with what he's about to say.
I got the
I
punishment.
agree with that, Mike.
Like, for real.
He said, I got the punishment. Okay, he's got the punishment for Bryce Mitchell. Let's listen to this.
I got the punishment. I think it's great. I think I have it because some people might not like the idea of a fine because it kind of maybe goes against the free speech angle, which I respect.
You make
Again, I said that there will be a massive financial fine for Bryce Mitchell. It's just hidden.
them work hours at a synagogue.
No,
That would be crazy.
you
That
make him
is-
fight Ilya Tapuria.
No.
You make him fight someone who
He's dead, man.
he is
gonna
going
lose.
to get
Destroyed
murdered
by.
by, and say if you lose, you're gone.
Wow.
Look how proud he is of himself. He thinks he is absolutely brilliant. Make Bryce Mitchell fight Ilya Tapturo. Hey, guess what, retard? They already fought! You don't know anything about the UFC. You're not as smart as your dumbass thinks you are. You're a mouth-breathing, mongoloid, retarded, jackass who takes it up the ass. They already fought. Ilya submitted Bryce Mitchell. And this dumbass who was just on his phone researching didn't come across that. Let me tell you how the research worked. So the first thing he did was he went and looked up what Bryce Mitchell's weight class is. There is no way in hell this retard knew that Bryce Mitchell is a featherweight. Okay, so the first thing he was doing while Mongo Mike was ranting about how he's a badass who beat up Nazis growing up, first thing he did was, what is Bryce Mitchell's weight class? Oh, featherweight. Let me tell you the next thing he did. He went and looked up who is the current champion of the featherweight division. Okay, he looked that up. Who is the champion of featherweight? And it said Ilya Toptoro. So then he went, oh, let's make Bryce Mitchell fight Ilya Toptoro. I'm so smart. And then this victory laugh right here. They already fought, you jackass. He got submitted. Bryce lost. You're not as smart as you think you are, but you are dumber than we thought you were. So that is an accomplishment. The world's most retarded human got even more retarded. Round of applause. Record levels of retardation you just witnessed. It's just truly shocking how stupid these people are and just how famous and rich they are in spite of that stupidity, because they do the bidding of their masters who run the entertainment industry. So it's not shocking that they have this position here. Which reminds me, earlier in this video, I said I would discuss what's going on in my life. If you're still watching now, you probably love me enough to hear this story. So as many of you know, I grew up in Canada, and about, 15, 16 months ago, I moved up to the USA. That one's a long story. Watch my previous videos if you're interested. So anyways, I'm here. I apply for a green card, but as part of the green card process, you have to get vaccinated or show proof that you have all your previous vaccinations. Now, all the vaccines I had as a kid, I have no record of that. So I would have to get them all over again. And imagine me getting autism at my age right now. No, thank you. And they also had a mandate that you have to get the most current COVID boosters to get a green card. I refused to do that. So then my application came back and they said, well, we're going to deny your application now, unless you file this official vaccine waiver within 30 days. And that vaccine waiver cost $1,050. That's the filing fee. And I paid a lawyer $850 to help me fill it out. So I spent $1,900 in addition to what I'd already spent. Okay, I've spent probably around $8,000 of my own money over the last year to legally immigrate here. So I mailed it in before the deadline, a few days before the deadline. So there's time for the post office to deliver it to immigration headquarters in Chicago. And today, just checked the tracking info. Paid extra to get tracking. Don't want to mess around here. Just checked the tracking info. This thing hasn't even been shipped. Took it to USPS, paid for the shipping, paid for the tracking. Tracking says it's not in transit at all. Well, we're well past the deadline now for immigration to get my official vaccine waiver. We are past the deadline now. So in their eyes, my ass has got to go. So depending on how much longer this video goes, you might see ICE break down my doors and drag me out. That's what's going on with me. So for those of you getting really invested in something going on the other side of the planet, picking your teams like the retard you are, no, I don't care. I don't care. I'm about to get deported because apparently USPS lost my goddamn immigration package. Oh, shout out to Trump, by the way. On his second day in office, he dropped the COVID mandate for green cards. Unfortunately, the other vaccines are still required, so I still need a waiver. But that was the big boy. That was the big boy. So shout out for dropping that mandate. But yeah, dude, that's what's going on with me. That's what's going on with me. Now, I'm now overdue. They said I had 30 days to get it in. They didn't get it. They didn't get it. Thanks, USPS. Thank you. So now I gotta go follow up with USPS, see what happened, call immigration, tell them, hey guys, I mailed it in. I have the receipt, I mailed it in. Please don't deport me. So I should go now. But hey, check out this video.